Girl, real talk. This whole it's new year, time to reinvent myself trash is not the vibe for 2024. You can find someone who loves you for you, as you are. You don't need to read a stack of self-help books, only eat sad salads, or start meditating at 5 a.m. to be ready for dating. So yeah, my advice is to download Bumble and find someone who embraces you the way you are right now. Let me know how it goes.
Bev's Video Kingdom is brought to you by chest-mounted surveillance microphones. Got a neighbor that's dealing crunchy herbal rave X in the apartment next door? Maybe he's got a neck tattoo and winks at your wife in the hallway. Hey, fuck that guy. Chest-mounted surveillance mics is the way to answer all of your prayers. The discreet mics only will work if they are mounted right in between your nipples. No drug-addled paranoid drug dealer will ever check you for a wire if the wire is on your chest. They may check your shoes, they may check your hat, but they'll never check your chest. All you have to do is put on the mic, randomly knock on his door in the middle of the night, and tell him you'd like to purchase some of the dopest dope you got, my G. His degenerate brain will immediately become clouded at the thought of corrupting your young mind, so he will instinctively sell you some drug. Enjoy the peace of mind that you have a microphone of the highest quality in the most secret, holy of hiding spots, right in between your sweaty breasts. Chest-mounted surveillance mics, we guarantee 100% of our wires, because if they find it, you're dead anyways.
Oh, man. Todd Gaines is a clever one.
So what are you up to tonight?
We're going to this party tonight, this warehouse thing.
Some sort of rave thing.
Is this gonna be cool?
Yeah, I guess.
Does a British guy still work here?
We went to Vegas for the weekend.
This British guy usually hooks us up.
Let me see what I can do. Give me a number.
I can't believe you're selling allergy medicine.
Oh, we're out of that. We're down to chewable aspirin.
I think I feel something.
It's really smooth, isn't it?
What do you want for Christmas, Claire?
We just kissed a little, okay?
Wow, he's a drug dealer.
He's a good guy.
Oh, he's the good drug dealer. Listen, I just want to make a deal here. Can we make a deal?
Are you Monty Hall?
Now watch what I do with his wrist.
Heck, down like that? Come on.
You know, I watch all these cop shows, and they never do it right. Ever.
Keep it close. There's an extra $10 in it for you. Get in the car.
You stole a car, shot a bouncer, and had sex with 2 women?
So now you're an entrepreneur.
You shouldn't do this, Rana.
Just drive.
Well, if you gotta go.
From Doug Lyman, the director of Swingers, Taye Diggs, William Fichtner, Katie Holmes, Breckin Meyer, Jay Moore, Timothy Oliphant, Sarah Polly, Scott Wolf.
You know what I like best about Christmas?
Mistletoe?
The surprises.
When there's nothing to do.
So, Zach, did you say you're open to new things?
Accept what you've done.
Is your British ass happy now?
When you've gone too far to stop.
There's no body, there's no crime. We'll put her in the trunk. Stop! What? Stop it! What? It's a Miata!
This spring.
Yo, man, I told you my mother's mother was your mother's fun. This ain't roots. If you were any less black, you would be clear.
Nothing will take you farther.
It's stuck! Oh. Give me that gun!
Go.
It's alright, I'm okay!
The more trailers we watch, the more I just hate trailers.
I specifically remember seeing this trailer and that gunshot at the end. I was like, ooh, that's kind of intriguing.
Except that trailer wasn't the worst, actually.
No, it totally makes you want to watch the movie, but then you're going to slowly realize you've already seen it because they just showed you like bullet points, what happens in every storyline.
I want to be at Beverly's, bringing me home with my movies, just a blind ride, no reason why. I love this scene. Nick Nazak and Brad, your favorite podcast. Let's start this thing. Woo!
All right, folks. Well, welcome to Bev's Video Kingdom. We are back, and I got to choose the movie this week, and I decided to choose a film from the late 90s, 1999, I believe.
99.
And it is Doug Liman directed. A fellow named John August wrote it, and that is Go. So this movie I did not see in the theater. I do remember actually wanting to see it, never got around to it, and then watched it later when it came out on DVD and enjoyed the hell out of it. I was a pretty big Tarantino fan, and I know that there was a lot of talk about, at that time, different movies that were kind of Tarantino-esque or Tarantino parodies, and I know that this kind of got lumped in a little bit with that. But I think it stands on its own. It is John August's writing debut, and John Lyman's first film after Swingers. And it's a fun movie, ultra fast-paced. It goes by really quickly. Even though it's kind of managing three storylines, it actually cruises by at a pretty fast pace. So I just want to get from you guys, what are your first thoughts? I know we have one person here, Nick. You were the one person who had not seen this before. So let's start with you and get your take on this movie.
I liked it. I did like it. I had not seen it. I didn't have that connection, when you see something that's at this point, 20 years old, 22 years old. That's a big deal to have that connection when you see it then or when it first comes out. Because at this point, I guess certain things age, but I liked it. Definitely can see, and I think it's not a bad thing. Pulp Fiction was, everyone looks at it like it's a piece of art, and and at that point it was a big deal even then. And so, to see the pieces of that in this movie, I don't think necessarily is a bad thing. I think that in my opinion, it's kind of obvious that he pulled from it a little bit. Not that that's a bad thing. But yeah, I did like it. Anything I've kind of thought back to all the movies I've seen that are centered around or built around drugs and drug use. And I've watched a good amount of them. I didn't know I'd seen as many as I have. And a lot of them are dark and not as uplifting, but it's hard to kind of take your eyes off of movies that have to do with that. So, and this movie was no different and a little more uplifting and funnier. So I did like it. Yeah.
Good stuff. Nate, what do you
so
think?
I'm pretty sure I saw this all the way through, but it had been since the first time for sure. And it probably had been 20 years. I thought it was better this time around. It was much better than I remembered it. And I remembered liking it, but being kind of it's a little bit weird. Or just offbeat in a way that didn't hit me right then, and it hit me just right this time around. I just thought it was super fun. Kind of had a lot of different I thought that the different there was similarity across the storylines, but I liked that each of them had their own kind of feel and almost their own little universe. So I thought it was great. I super fun watch, super fun rewatch. And, we look now and I think some of the actors in this were pretty famous and at the peak at the time, but I think some of them have become even more, maybe Oliphant, most among them have become even bigger since. And so it feels in Melissa McCarthy in that tiny little role. So to me, I guess part of my takeaway is the ensemble is phenomenal. I think it was good then. But I think looking back on it, it's even better because of what those people have done.
Feels like cheating to get all those great people in the same movie. You know what I mean? When Melissa McCarthy never takes that role, either way. But I thought it was really good. I have a great relationship with this movie. I've seen it a bunch of times. I owned it on VHS when I was in college. I never saw it in the theater. It was kind of not really a blockbuster, if I'm remembering. There was a bunch of movies around that time, Fight Club and all this other stuff going on. But I picked up the VHS because Katie Holmes was in it, who was I love Katie Holmes right around this time. And, man, it's a great movie. I love the way they tell the story. It's definitely ripping off Tarantino and the whole, super, lots of really, narrative-driven stuff, long, elongated scenes where people are talking. But, I kind of missed this stage. I think a lot of people that grew up in bigger cities, which we didn't, had this rave kind of scene that was happening that was never really here. So this was kind of a cool glimpse into that. I don't know if it was realistic or not. I think it probably was. I mean, I didn't think anything was too over the top about it, except for some of the
they had
characters'
glow
decisions.
sticks. Is there anything more real?
I mean,
all the paint outside the building. I've been to a few raves. Probably one of the bigger ones I went to was in Chico, and it was that whole black light and everything was just pretty much everywhere. And some of the outfits are just crazy.
But I think it holds up. I think it holds up on the. I haven't watched it in a couple years, probably 5, maybe longer. And I dug it. I was into it. I got sucked into it the other night when I put it on, and I didn't turn it off at all, not even once. How many snippets did we watch, Nate?
15.
Actually, I'll say prepping for this, I watched it twice, and both times I had no problem just cruising through it. Like it was really quick to get through. So our first thing that we're going to start off with, as we usually do, is we are going to be drinking with the director, Doug Liman. And so first off, I would like to know, gentlemen, what are you drinking tonight? I'll tell you first. I am drinking local brewery. This time I'm drinking from Dying Breed. I think I've drank this on the pod before, maybe, but it is made in the IPA. Just a straight up, as simple as it goes, West Coast IPA. Super crisp, super delicious, nice hoppy, tasty. Oh, we got something about to pop.
I'm about to give you your ASMR moment.
ASMR moment alert.
Oh, somebody just popped.
Wow.
I just cracked open a truly black cherry and lemonade. And to commemorate our trip to the San Francisco Giants game the other day, when I significantly no less embarrassingly, thought I was grabbing a Mike's Hard Lemonade.
How embarrassing.
But instead,
you
I
came up with
grabbed
a Truly.
A Truly. And so I thought,
one of our sponsors.
You would have looked like such a puss if you would have showed up with a Mike's Hard Lemonade. But lucky for you, you came on to that pink Truly.
Manly Truly. So I saw one of these in the fridge tonight, and it just felt right.
There you go. Good stuff.
I am drinking Buffalo Trace, my go-to whiskey. Very cheap, and they have it at your local Safeway or Bel Air. Maybe some rallies, as the kids call it.
I'm drinking Peace, Love, Haze from our local Dust Bowl Brewing. Lucky enough to have Nate have it on tap here at the Casa, so that's what I'm sipping on. It's a tasty IPA. So,
all right, so good stuff. So we're sitting down with drinks with Doug Liman. Doug Liman, going through some of his movies. Swingers, of course, was his first mega hit. And then he does the Jason Bourne, a few of those movies.
Which ones did he do? Did he do the first one?
He was the first. He was
Born Identity.
And then maybe, I think, Supremacist. Maybe. I don't
think it was just Identity.
Just directed one of them? Okay.
The first one is sick.
And then Edge of Tomorrow. And another movie before Edge of Tomorrow, Jumper, which I had not seen. I know it's Bruce Willis, time travel thing.
It's not.
No, that's Looper.
This is
That's Looper. Okay, never mind.
Jumper
because Looper's amazing. Jumper,
Hayden Christensen.
Jumper's got Anakin Skywalker in it, just being wooden and jumping through time. It's such a cool concept, but I didn't think they'd pull it off.
All right, so my bad on that one. But yeah, so if we're sitting down with Doug Liman, what would we talk to him? So the first thing I would ask him, because this, like I said, one person I saw called it the Tarantino for the MTV generation. And there's something to be said about that, because it definitely moves very quick. It's a fast-paced movie. And I would ask him, like, so what was cut? Because Tarantino movies are known for those like 5, 6, 7 minute scenes sometimes where people are just talking. And while there are some witty conversations in this, some pop culture conversations, they're not that long. They're pretty short. And so I was wondering if there was maybe more to those conversations that they cut out just to kind of keep the movie moving. But I did appreciate the conversations, that the way he directed them, and I thought it was some funny banter, especially with the boys in the cars.
Do you think that was some ad-lib stuff?
I would love to see Oliphant in a long Pulp Fiction conversation. He's the only one in the cast. Well, no, that guy, the FBI agent who was like the head of it, the weirdo, the pyramid scheme, William Thickener. I'd dig to see him in a Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino 5-minute dialogue.
I mean, I guess I would ask him, wouldn't you ask him? Is Jay Moore the star of this movie? Because everything that I read and all the research I did is like the Jay Moore vehicle go and like, oh, Jay Moore starring.
So what's funny about that? I mean, that's a really time bound thing, I think, right? Like this is like peak Jay Moore. Like he's stand-up comedy, he's killing. He's in Jerry Maguire a few years earlier. Like it looks like Jay, he's always on. He's like guest hosting Jim Rome show at the time, all the time. And I remember like Jay Moore was kind of a deal. He wasn't like the big deal, but he was kind of the big, And I mean, I still love Jay Moore in general, but I mean, he certainly has. Now this was peak Jay Moore. They never got better than this.
You've heard him on the radio though. He does voices.
Oh, he's great. But I'm just
really
saying,
good.
He's not. He definitely wasn't somebody that was going to sell a movie ever again.
Did he get canceled or something? Where's
no,
Jay
I just
Moore?
think he's. Maybe you did. Who knows?
I'm not too particular. I don't know.
I still remember seeing Jay Moore one time. I just accidentally, I was with my cousin. And I went to see a stand. I was on Sunset Boulevard, and I just stumbled into the Comedy Store or something and saw. And Jay Moore was headlining. Funniest stand-up I've ever seen. I pissed my pants. I laughed for days afterwards about that.
And you just randomly went?
Yeah, I just was like, we just were there. We're fucking around on Sunset Boulevard, and I was.
He had a Comedy Central special I used to love.
He's a funny dude. I mean, I really like him. But it is funny to think of him as this. I mean, he's so not the star of this.
Right? I mean, I feel like if anybody's a star, it's young Uma Thurman. Or whatever her name is, Sarah Polley.
Sarah Polley.
What else is she in? Because I looked through her entire IMDb and I've never seen any other movie that she's in.
Written and directed like a group of things I saw.
Really?
She's got
Okay.
an interesting story. If you read her IMDb, and if we're gonna bring her up, she was set to be Penny Lane in Almost Famous.
Oh wow!
And I think she turned it down.
She wouldn't have been bad.
No.
And we can talk about that later.
She's not an ugly girl by any stretch, she's not the
great.
She's
manic pixie princess or whatever.
Yeah, but let's be clear here. I mean, Kate Hudson is beautiful, but she has some magic in Almost Famous. It's not even about her being beautiful. In Almost Famous,
she
just
her
is.
Sarah,
she's just something special in that movie.
Can't even imagine Sarah Polley.
Sarah Polley is basically playing a character around the same age as Penny Lane from Almost Famous, and Penny Lane comes across way more mature than she is, and Sarah Polley, she comes across as kind of a little girl in this one. She doesn't,
and she's trying to be mature, and she's trying
in over her head from day.
Definitely,
for sure.
So I would ask him first: is this a Christmas movie?
Definitely.
I feel like it was funny. I totally had forgotten that part of it, but I was like, oh man, there's all these arguments all the time about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I think by the same token, is Go a Christmas movie? A lot of so I mean, it's not just that it happens at Christmas. There's a lot of commentary, a lot of is that what you really want for Christmas? There's the sort of trees decorated in the background, and it made me think I might put this in my Christmas rotation. Get me in the spirit, a little bit of a little bit of drug use, a little bit of running people over the car.
I think that's a good call. I think it's definitely a good call.
I think it's a Christmas movie, much in the same vein that Gremlins is a Christmas movie, because you have the weird.
There's
the speech that my lovely Katie Holmes does 2 times in the movie about Christmas and all that stuff is reminiscent of Phoebe Cates' speech that has zero meaning and no reason to be in the movie in Gremlins, where she talks about her dad getting stuck in the chimney and dying on Christmas.
And it's kind of random in this movie too, the way Katie Holmes just comes out of nowhere.
It's very reminiscent to me. Yeah. So I think he ripped off Tarantino and Gremlins is what I'm going to ask him. Did you rip off Gremlins?
Yeah, Katie Holmes, like you're saying, I think that it's kind of a weird turn where she goes from the whole time she's timid and scared and just I don't want to be in a situation. And also she's like, screw it, I'm gonna go talk to this drug dealer and I'm just gonna chat it up with him, mix it up. Why not?
All of a sudden, real flirty and outgoing.
Yeah. So one of the things I like or I wonder about this is so if you think of the different storylines, they almost feel like they're centered or that they're less about trying to mingle the story and more about trying to do set pieces that are really he really likes, right? I mean, he directs Swingers, right? And so he has to, the Vegas piece of this feels like a good mix between, a much tamer Fear and Loathing and the Swingers stuff, right? It's so the Wedding Crash, right? Is just such a classic, beautiful little snippet. And then the sort of cop thing, right, where they end up in the house and it's sort of a weird little, like I think it's supposed to be like a sex party, but they're trying to sell them all that.
Such a great
pivot.
So weird. So
the
awesome.
grocery store, right, which is such a good, like, I was like, oh man, this is like feels so, like exactly what the jobs at that age were and stuff. So in some ways, like, I kind of want to know, like, how much of this was driven by a narrative ahead of time, and how much of this was just like, let's just pick. I mean, this is a writer question too, but let's just pick some stuff here that we think is fun, and then we can figure out how the story ties them together. Because it was, for me, I was like, the story was good, but the different like places it took you was for me the really fun part.
Well, John August, the writer, I know I've listened to his podcast quite a bit, and he talked about that he actually got to go on set and kind of be like almost like the script supervisor. Like he got to kind of follow along and give some notes and things. And so Doug Liman worked actually with the writer, and that doesn't often happen on these Hollywood movies. That usually the writer just kind of passes off the screenplay and they're all done. But John August got to help out with the making of the movie.
Maybe we'll invite him to drinks then too.
Yeah, probably should.
And then we'd eventually ask, what the fuck is Taye Diggs doing hanging out with these fucking ass clowns? He's seemingly the most beautiful man in the world. He's well dressed. He's got money. He's like successfully gambling, and he's hanging out with three of the biggest freaking dorks.
Yeah, he's got that killer jacket on, and then he lets it get in his fucking head. That guy rents space when he starts making fun of his jacket.
Come
on, you look
like
great.
Seth Green in the back seat. Are you kidding me? From
Exactly.
Can't Hardly Wait. I mean, that's the same. They're the same person.
And that there's actually another character for the guy that she sells fake E to that is actually dressed as the character of Seth Green from Can't Hardly Wait in the van.
Yes.
But Taye Diggs does
The
give
orange
us one of the best lines of all time, which is, "If you were any more white, you'd be clear."
Yes.
And I got a couple from that car scene that they're just trying really hard to say some like wacky shit. But get your stinky dinky out of my ass. and he's kind of saying that they're going back and forth, and he's like, I ain't got a picture of my mother's mother in my wallet.
Yes. Breck and Meyer get to drop the N-bomb before it probably wouldn't be allowed so much in newer movies. No. But that whole car scene, I put that in my notes. That I love the banter. I love them talking trash back and forth.
It's one of the best parts of the movie.
That, I'm like, oh damn, that's where Breck and Meyer just gonna come in hot. Let's see where this conversation goes.
It's one of the best scenes in the movie, but it just doesn't make sense that this guy's hanging out with them. Like, they need to establish, like, oh, we've known each other since second grade, and that's why we hang out. And that's
or
like
they
the
need
only
to all be like
acceptable
smoking
answer.
pot together or something. Taye Diggs needs to be like smoking a lot of weed with those guys, like they're all smoking weed buddies or something.
Well, he said
he's risking his life for these guys
in traffic school.
Yeah, and now he's risking his life for him.
Yeah,
they're shooting bouncers and shit.
Yeah,
dude, I very much doubt it. Long ago, Taye Diggs would have been like, "Oh, dude, you're fucked."
Well, I would want to point out to Doug Liman two of my favorite characters in this movie. One, of course, as we mentioned, William Fichtner is just awesome as the cop turned Confederated Sales Products or whatever. And then Victor, one of just a small role. He's the bouncer at the strip club's dad. Just trying to teach his young son how to get by in life, and he's just angry all the time. He's just fucking pissed, and whoever that guy is, he plays that role awesome. He's just angry all the time.
Yeah. So mad that he won't shoot him enough.
Shoot him.
He's like, what do you mean you can't do it?
Is he the guy that plays the florist in the town?
No.
Am I thinking of somebody different?
Different actor. I don't know what their names are, but yeah, it's a different actor.
You're gonna make me look this up.
So the Tarantino vibes were so thick that I really thought when he's playing with the gun, and I've seen the movie before, and I was like, he's gonna be like, I shot Taye Diggs in the face. I accidentally.
I feel like that might have been an intentional homage right there. It seems like it, playing with the gun in there. Yeah. I mentioned another line that I love. It's another Breckenmeyer line when they're leaving the hotel, and he's just like stops for a second. What the fuck are we running from? All right, so we do have. We're going to kind of segue into our next segment, which is Shag Snag Body Bag. Some of you might know that as marry, fuck, kill. Well, we call it shag, snag, body bag. So you know the rules. So we're going to talk about things that we would like to shag from the movie, things that we would snag, and things that need to go in the body bag. So what do we got as far as shag?
I'm going to go with the drug dealer being portrayed as not like obnoxiously stoned or silly. And actually, you know, I like that because I don't like the over-the-top drug dealer. I've known some drug dealers in my time, and none of them are too silly. You don't get too far being a drug dealer when you're super silly. But every movie drug dealer ends up being just like super goofy and super weird. Not my experience. I liked Timothy Olyphant in this. I thought he was great, and I just liked the way that they depicted that. I thought it came through awesome.
Yeah, he's smarter than the like underlings you would have, maybe just kind of like selling it at the schools and stuff. But he's definitely knows that he's got to do a business, and he's got to make sure he counts his shit and takes care of his business.
I mean, there's no movie if he doesn't make the dumb decision of giving this girl credit. Basically, is that basically what he does? Does he gives her credit? Which is just really unrealistic.
Not gonna happen.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna shag the multi-thread movie. It kind of reminded me of some movies. I mean, that happens occasionally, right? So it's not like it's a time period. It's like a period thing per se. But it's been a minute since I've seen one that was like this that I just really liked in this way. So I just dug it. I was like, yep. Give me more of the like what's going on at the same time in this in the same universe.
And you know it's all going to come together. You know, it's great.
Nick,
okay. I said it earlier, so I don't have to talk about it too much. But just movies about drugs and drug use, they're fun to watch, and they're hard to kind of like pull away from when you start them. I don't watch them all the time, but this was a fun one I hadn't seen. And this isn't as hardcore as a lot of drug use like movies. And like I said, I liked the fact that it was lighter, funny, fast moving. And the next thing that I really liked about it is going to go into my snag. But yeah, it just reminded me, it had been a while since I had seen a movie like this. Well, like I said, it wasn't built too much on drugs, but it was fun to watch. And I did enjoy watching it. So that's my snag, drugs.
my shag here is going to be Taye Diggs, and you can take that however you want, because he, as Zach said, he is a beautiful man.
You take that however you want.
And Taye Diggs, I mean, every scene he's in, you're wanting to watch what he's going to do, and I feel weird just because it's like he's had a long career in Hollywood, a lot of TV stuff and things. He's just been in stuff that I don't watch.
But he's all, yeah. I mean, so the weird thing about Taye Diggs though is like, there's been some really high profile movies that have featured black actors doing black topics that were more serious, that you'd expect to see more of Taye Diggs in. And that's just not where he's shown up.
He's too beautiful.
Maybe he's just too beautiful, right? I mean, you know, and he has done some serious stuff, but I mean, it's not even just that. That's the funny thing though, is like, if you think of Brad Pitt's beautiful and he's done some fucking awesome stuff, right? Leo's beautiful and he's done some awesome stuff. Taye Diggs is a good actor. Like, he's really legitimately good. So I'm surprised and maybe a little disappointed that I haven't seen more of Taye in some like evolving roles.
Hey, don't shag my guy. I already shagged him.
You save some for me.
The guy's having 46-hour orgasms, guys.
There's plenty to go around.
And he taught the British guy how to do it in 8 seconds over some tainted shrimp. And he was like, you just got to redirect it inside your body. And he's like, okay. And then he did it the next time.
Like Breckenmeyer said, he's the Obi-Wan Dick Kenobi or whatever he said. All right. So how about our snags? What are we snagging from the film Go?
That's me. So I'm snagging movies that take place in the time window of like a short time window. So if you're talking about a movie that takes place within a 9-hour, 12, 24-hour time window, you got, just to list some, you got movies like Pulp Fiction, Training Day, Reservoir Dogs, Can't Hardly Wait, Escape from New York, Clerks, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Die Hard, American Graffiti, Breakfast Club, 25th Hour. So some amazing movies. And it's really, I talked about, a drug movie, you're kind of like locked into, you're like, okay, how's the director going to tell this story? Well, it's the exact same thing, but I love any movie that I'm watching that's in a tight time frame. You want to see how the creator is going to be creative, first of all, how he's going to tell that story in that time window. And you're pretty much guaranteed for kind of like a a ride of some sort. It may not be action packed, but the way that it's told is going to be creative. And so I love any movie that's saying, okay, you're about to sit for an hour and a half to hour 45 minutes to 2 hours, and you're going to watch something that takes place in just a day or 10 hours. So I'm a big fan of that, and I'm always going to love movies with that.
So I'm gonna snag two things that are heavily related. So I'm gonna snag the ensemble cast movie because I love it. Like I mean, there are a lot of bad ones of these, but the ones that are good are right up my alley. And I'm gonna snag this particular ensemble. I mean, just listen to the list, right? If you haven't paid attention closely, Katie Holmes, Scott Wolf, Jay Moore, Timothy Oliphant, William Fichtner, Taye Diggs, Breckenmeyer. Let's see,
Melissa McCarthy,
Jane Krakowski, who's at the time huge, and I mean that. And I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but I mean that's just ridiculous at the time, and for many of those since. That's a phenomenal cast.
And again, this wasn't a big movie.
No. It's just thick with really high quality acting.
I think they were all like, "We're gonna make an indie. You want to all do it together? Okay, get Brecken in here. bring Brecken in,
and bring his friend Taye with him." Oh well, my snag is pretty much just movie pacing. I love if a movie's got a good pace where it's just moving forward constantly and you don't really have any time to there's no downtime, there's no lulls. I feel that this movie, the pacing of it's just fast paced. Like once it gets going, it's just boom, boom, on to the next scene, on the next scene. Every scene's pretty short, everything's pretty quick. A lot of kind of just hard cuts to the next scene, and I really dig that. So if it's moving forward, I mean the movie's called Go, for fuck's sake. So it definitely goes. It moves forward, and I appreciate that in a movie because it makes the time go by quickly, and you enjoy it. You kind of get lost in it.
I'm gonna snag the same thing that I think everybody's snagging about this movie is just movies with the crazy timeline. All my favorite movies have these weird, and we've already talked about it. Rules of Attraction, Day After Tomorrow, also directed by Doug Liman.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Shut up, Nick.
That's Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, not Day After Tomorrow. That's not what I was talking about. Talking about the one where the aliens come after Cruise.
Yeah, no, I know.
Memento, all these movies.
Memento's in reverse. It's not alternate timelines.
Tenet. I don't like Tenet.
Does Tenet play with time?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't understand it at all, but that's what I got.
We don't need to
from
waste
it.
much time on talking about Tenet on this pod.
Oh, all right. So our final category, of course, is body bag, and this is where we're going to take something. We're getting rid of it. It's going to be buried 6 feet underground.
So I thought the big miss here for me is the kid, the third of the grocery store trio that takes the X tab. It just kind of was like
he was incapacitated.
It's from what I hear, that is not the true experience of X. So it's a bit of a caricature. And second, I thought that even the caricature of that has been done better and more funny, kind of more originally. So it felt like that was the part that was kind of forced on us, and it was the one part that felt a little bit cookie cutter generic to me. So I was kind of like, I could have left that out and saved the time for some longer conversations.
If they had made it pharmaceutical grade, not non-herbal crunchy LSD that he was taking,
then let's go.
It was it was a little strange depiction.
All they need to do is he had already taken a tab of acid or something, and then he took the X as well and was just tripping balls. Then it would have made a little bit more sense, yeah. Because the hallucinations and stuff, while they were funny, I love the cat when he corrects the cat and the cat's just, "You're going to die." I thought that shit was funny.
Yeah. So kids, that's not what X is like.
Super good friend to young Uma Thurman by stealing a couple of the pills that she just
solid.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this dude is. They must be really close.
You just put your life on the line for a drug dealer? Oh, I'm just gonna steal.
Yeah,
one.
You just had to show him your chest mic. Okay, so my body bag is Tom Cruise. This man single-handedly ruined my lady love, Katie Holmes' career by marrying her up.
jumping on Oprah's couch and shit.
I mean, literally, she went from she was like arguably co-starring in Batman Begins with Christopher Nolan, and then she said that her schedule was too busy to do The Dark Knight. Are you fucking kidding me? It was Tom Cruise being like, "You're tainted now. Now that you've been the only girl that's I mean, Nicole Kidman's made it out okay, but it took a while. You know what I mean? Penelope Cruz. I haven't seen her in anything in a while, man.
You know, Scientology is going to end this podcast now, right?
The problem is that Tom Cruise takes all the girls that I really like Nicole Kidman and Katie Holmes and freaking Penelope Cruz.
I think you ruined the same person.
I think you ruined somebody else's career in this movie as well. And
Who's that?
I thought you were going to say Scott Wolf, because Scott Wolf was always he's like the younger Tom Cruise. He kind of looks like Tom Cruise, and then that shit never panned out.
Maybe he ruined Jay Moore's career by
ruining Katie Holmes.
The Jerry Maguire, he's Bob Sugar.
So
I'm just saying, I'm upset.
A lot of Tom Cruise in this movie for not being a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah,
jeez.
And I love Vanilla Sky, but fuck Tom Cruise. And I love Day After Tomorrow.
You just give me Tom Cruise running hard. I'm here. I'm here for all 15 episodes.
He can sprint like a motherfucker.
All right, Nick, what are you body bagging here?
Probably a hot take. Sarah Polley. She's not a good actor.
She's not great in this.
She's not a good actor. And to hear that she was up for Penny Lane, in what universe does that happen? So thank you for turning that down. I think that she turned it down. But she's got kind of a crazy IMDb. Interesting. There was a story where she was wearing a peace symbol at a dinner sitting next to Disney CEOs. They asked her to take it off. She did not. They blacklisted her after that interaction.
Is that why she's never been in a movie that I've seen except for Go? Because I really don't know any of them.
I don't know. She's written and directed different things.
Why does Disney hate peace?
Disney was on a very pro-war stance at that time.
But Disney's like, fuck that. We're part of the industrial the industrial complex.
Industrial complex.
But the whole I don't know. I just feel like 3 or 4 years later in Spun, Brittany Murphy. Give me Brittany Murphy as Rana in that part.
That's a good call.
Way more intriguing, sexier, better actor. So I just don't. I mean, like you're saying, we're kind of laughing about how ballsy she is to do all these different things, and I don't feel like, as far as I'm concerned, her blood pressure never spikes the entire time. I don't see a lot of range in her, so that she kind of killed it a little bit for me. So Rana, Sarah Polley.
I feel like William Fichtner just ran her over in those scenes where she's supposed to be she's trying to kind of be sassy with them, and it just comes across super stiff and kind of fake. I'll agree with you there. It's not my body bag, but I appreciate you putting her in there.
Yeah, she really was never in anything again that anyone has ever seen.
No, there's no movies that she's in that I saw.
Fucking Disney.
All right, so my body bag is going to go to Desmond Askew's agent. And in fact, Nate, you were just going through the list of cast, and you did not mention him. And I feel like the fact that you didn't mention him is sad, because he is crazy fun in this movie. I appreciate him. Maybe you hate him, but I love all the stuff he does. Is just the silly British guy. He's hilarious. He's got some funny lines. He's just got that energy, that manic energy that just feels realistic. A person who's just always just kind of bouncing around. You're the person you want to throw in the trunk when you're driving to Vegas. We don't want to listen to this guy talk and be crazy the entire time.
Okay, but can I recast him and just absolutely dominate?
Who would that be?
Simon Pegg.
No.
Yeah. Oh man.
Simon Pegg doesn't arrange a threesome with those girls.
Yeah, he just as convincingly as that dude.
You're gonna.
I thought that
that guy was. I thought that the funniest, big old swinging dick.
It was really funny that he changed his accent to an Irish
real
accent
thick
to get
Irish accent to get the chick. No, that's what I'm saying. He's a gamer. He knows what he's doing. He definitely changes it up. Which is funny. That's also a scene that Love Actually, one of your favorite flicks, Nate. They steal that completely.
That's a total steal. Love Actually is wonderful.
but that's a rip up. They ripped it off
and
with
I
the
will
kid.
apologize for it.
Nate just tilted his head to the side when he thought about Love Actually. So just like,
Had a moment.
God, I love that movie.
But you know what, Brad? Me and your wife are going to do a pod on that this Christmas, and you're not invited.
Okay, that's fine with me. But yeah, Desmond Askew's agent. I feel like the kid could have been a bigger star, but if you look at the shit he's been in, it's just there's nothing really interesting, nothing really. A couple of TV spots here and there, some voice work for video games and things, but I think he should have been a little bit bigger. I think he could have used this movie to move on, unless Tom Cruise ruined it for him or something.
Probably.
Maybe he was looking at Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise was already like, fuck that. She's going to be my future wife.
Like, your career's done. You're done.
You're
done in this
kid.
town.
Nate, while you and Brad's wife watch Love Actually, me and Brad will be watching the Muppet Christmas
a
Carol.
much better.
Well, you guys do.
I will
You
be
guys
watching
do that pod,
neither.
and we'll see
So
who
jealous.
who listens to more.
A quick note on that, just for you listeners that know that I got shit on for my Muppets Christmas Carol. I had to pick up a sprinkler to fix a sprinkler in my yard, and I went into Ace Hardware. My wife was in the car. When I came back out, because she had listened to that part of the podcast, when I came back out, she had the Muppet Christmas Carol soundtrack playing on
And
my
that
car.
is why I love your wife.
All right, so now we are on to Cameo. Cameo is one of our longtime sponsors, and we love them so much. And they're always supportive, and so we check Cameo to see if the movie has any of the people that were in it are on Cameo. So that's what we're looking at today. And I checked it this morning, and I'm interested to see who you guys think. This is a pretty star-studded cast. Some people who went on to some bigger things. Some of them maybe fell off a little bit. Who do you think is on the Cameo?
So wait, we're calling this a star-studded cast?
I guess it's not.
Scott Wolf's in this fucking movie.
Because Office Space, I feel like blows this movie kind of out of the water a little bit.
I wouldn't call it star-studded by any means.
Okay,
You think Office
I'm
Space
sorry.
blows this out of the water?
Maybe not blows out of the water, but
Aniston.
it's got it by a couple.
Who besides Aniston?
Like a full huh?
I'd say it's pretty
Pretty
close.
Scrubs.
No, I would say this movie has way more
pretty.
stars.
That's not quite C list, but it's there.
Ron Livingston,
Yeah.
So that being said, though,
ultimate method actor.
who's on Cameo?
I say Breckenmeyer.
No, Breckenmeyer's a big star.
For like $150, you don't think Breckenmeyer's going to wish your mom happy birthday?
I think he might say the N-word for $150 on Cameo, just like he did in this movie.
Zach, you seem to have some thoughts here.
Yeah.
Who are
No,
you thinking?
I think that the human dimple himself, Scott Wolf,
You
is
think
on
so?
Cameo, and I think he charges a lot of
lot,
money.
and
And I
he
think
get-
there's a lot of ladies that are like, Scott Wolf,
Bunch of chicks.
tell me a
that are 40
bedtime
that are
story.
like,
Yes,
just talk to me.
exactly.
All right. Well,
Is Jay Moore on?
let me go ahead and say
he
some
probably
things.
is. God, that's sad.
Cameo.
Give me Bob.
Jay
Shapiro.
Moore,
Cameo.
Taye Diggs,
What?
William Fichtner, all formerly on Cameo.
Oh.
Formerly.
Wow.
What does that even mean?
Which means they like all of them had within the last 9 months sent out a video, because they always show the little previews of the videos, and so they all had within like the last 9 months. One of them was like 4 months ago, but now they're not on there.
Do you know what they
Jay
charge?
Moore
And they
couldn't
don't
be Bob
show
Sugar
you-
one more time.
How much they cost, which sucks. So those three, but we do have two others. So we
Taye
have
Diggs,
two
Taye
others.
Diggs only does them when he's not having a 48-hour orgasm.
In between those 48-hour orgasms, he's doing a cameo here and there. It actually says that, because it always says like how long it takes for them to get back to you.
48 hours at least.
At least.
I'm internalizing this shit. But so you're telling me that my dude, the human dimple, is not on there? What is he doing with his life if he's not on Cameo?
Tony
Scott Wolf. That's an interesting one, because he had I mean, from Party of Five to this, he seems like he's on a
There was a trajectory.
I'm
You're
saying,
absolutely right.
I still think
Tom Cruise ruined his career.
Tom Cruise might have ruined it.
I got one. There's another. You
Fucking
said there's
Tom
two more
Cruise.
out there, right?
There's two more out there.
So James Duvall
James Duvall
from Donnie Darko.
is on there. James
Yeah.
Duvall, who plays Singh, who's the dude in the back seat that's not Breckenmeyer,
Yeah.
gets sick on the shrimp.
Oh, the dude with almost no lines?
Says very, 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 very little.
The token wannabe white boy, wannabe black guy?
He
and his name's Singh.
He
I
was
was like,
the
how's his
brother
name Singh?
in Independence Day.
Yes,
he was.
That's exactly what he was. He's done
in
some other things.
in
That's
the
a good
trailer.
pull, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is one, and then the other one, it's going to be a reach for anybody to guess it. So I'll just tell you, that would be Jimmy Schubert, who plays Victor Jr. So he's the and which I appreciate his role too. When
The guy
he
that gets
stops
shot?
Yeah, when he stops him as they're going into the VIP room, and he starts like explaining the rules, like he's chewing he's sucking on that lollipop, and he just kind of seems a little bit legit. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever been in a strip club here or not, but kind of seemed like he was playing the role pretty well.
So everybody here that's theoretically, say you guys theoretically went to a strip club, and you see your friend that's the guy that always makes a fool of himself at the strip club, and he does way more than the British guy ever did and never gets kicked out of the strip club, right? I mean, all he did was he like slightly grabbed the MILF stripper's booty.
Yeah.
And they kicked him out and like we're going to
beat his ass.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it was a little sketchy because I think we've all heard stories about somebody who may or may not have been kicked in the nuts outside of strip club.
We have heard stories about that. Yeah.
It was an Orthodox strip club.
Orthodox. Don't look under her jean skirt.
You respect the G string. Respect the G string.
But yeah, so those two, Victor Jr., who ultimately does get his revenge on.
Does he though? You don't think the dad went over and grabbed the gun from him? Because it doesn't show it.
That's true.
So I've got this in I've got an alternate ending for this.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We'll get back to that.
But by the way, Scott, you didn't miss it. Scott Wolf has been in essentially nothing since Go.
Yeah.
That's insanity to me.
He's like in the Nancy Drew show as like a backup actor.
He looked at Katie Holmes sideways, and Tom Cruise saw that, and he was just like,
Shut him out.
Fuck you. You're trying to be me, and you're trying to get with my future girl?
He does have a Tom Cruise
really
vibe.
quick, that part where he's like, Jay Moore's trying to talk him into going and grabbing the body with him. And it's pretty ridiculous where he's trying to walk him through this.
When he's like, and they got your favorite sandwiches.
Say hi to the makeup place. Say hi, Karen. Hi, Karen.
Smell the veggie burgers. Smell the veggie burgers.
He's like, I'm not delusional. Hey, but that was good. I thought that was all good acting by both of them.
It was funny. I mean, they were actually a believable couple.
Funny.
Oh, yeah.
Before we move on, I just realized that, did you know that Jay Moore either married or is still married to or divorced the redheaded girl from the show with the puppet? You know what I'm talking about?
Muppets?
You're talking about Miss Piggy?
No, it's the one where they go to the
my area of
basement and the guy's got a puppet. Do you know the show I'm talking about? Scott knows the show I'm talking about. What show is it? Happily Ever After. You know that show?
No.
Oh, my God. All right. Look it up, kids. Thank you.
Scott's not here yet.
Look it up. En route. Jay Moore, married to the hot redhead from Happily Ever After.
Wait, she's not the one from that 70s show.
No. That's
Prepon.
Donna, Laura Prepon. No.
All right.
This girl's arguably hotter at her peak.
So are we in Cameo right now?
We are still finished up Cameo. So since we don't care about James Duvall or Jimmy Schubert, I'll just tell you, James Duvall, $50 sounds expensive to me.
That sounds like a lot.
But if you don't have that extra $11, Jimmy Schubert is your man as Victor Jr. Just have him explain the rules of the strip club. We can send it to a few of our friends.
Now I know what Nick's getting for his birthday.
All right. So after that, we're going to move on to our next segment here. And we're going to talk about streaming recommendations. Streaming recommendations is where we're going to tell you, hey, you know what? This movie reminds me of this, or it kind of is similar to this, and you should check it out. And we tried to do our best to give you the place where you can find this movie and watch it for possibly free or paying for some streaming service.
Or you could pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
I found this movie on Amazon. You have to order the DVD.
Or
$3.99
Stars.
Nobody has mentioned yet that Go is on Stars. So once again,
the Stars is the unofficial sponsor of Brad.
Yes.
Hey, Stars is low-key, has a lot of good movies on it. I hate to say it. My sister has a special Hulu account that has Stars on it, and I every time have to sign out of my account and sign into her account so that I can watch the Stars movie, then sign back out and sign back into mine.
Hey,
Stars making a
Stars
push.
My people at Stars aren't happy about that. I'll just let you know.
They're definitely coming after me.
All right.
So are the Scientologists.
We're making lots of enemies today.
All right. So streaming recommendations. Earlier in the pod, talked about movies that take place in a small window of time. Got on that rant. All free as long as you have HBO Max
Oh, he's going to take
and Amazon Prime. Staying with Quentin. Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Hateful Eight. Just movies that take place in a short amount of time. 24 hours in that time frame. And I actually threw in Clue, of all movies. Movie that takes place during the course of a night, going old school with it. Completely, obviously Clue, a far left turn from all of those, but Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Hateful Eight, all Quentin Tarantino flicks. Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino's breakthrough film, his first film, blew the doors down, and then it got primed him for Pulp Fiction in '94. But Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, streaming on HBO Max. Hateful Eight is on Netflix. Clue is on Amazon Prime.
There you go.
So I'm going to jump right on that bandwagon, except I'm going to give the movie that is the closest, I think, follow from the Tarantino universe, and that's True Romance, which I just randomly, Nick asked me this earlier, did you just watch this because it just came, or maybe Zach, because it just came free on HBO Max? And no, I've had it on my list for a long time, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to watch this tonight, I'll go ahead and buy it. Nope, it's on HBO Max. So True Romance has an amazing ensemble cast, sort of like shocking. Some of them, like Gandolfini before Sopranos, before he's like blows up. So this crazy good cast. It's got drugs. It's got On the Run. It's got
comedy,
some like violence that's cool, some comedy that's cool, some serious. Like it is the cousin of Go.
Zach Balky with a face full of cocaine.
Balky Bartakamus.
And Tarantino wrote it and did not direct it.
Right.
But yeah, and Tony Scott of all people directed that. So it's amazing. So anyway, True Romance. If you liked Go, True Romance is for you. So go watch it on HBO Max for free, except you have to pay $15 a month.
Which is totally worth it.
So I am going to, I actually was going to recommend True Romance, but I luckily put down 2 because I thought somebody would also choose that. So I'm going to go to, so our director Doug Liman did Swingers, and Vince Vaughn, Jon Favreau together. Their next movie was not directed by Doug Liman, but it was directed by Jon Favreau. It was actually his directorial debut, and that would be the movie Made. Another movie that's got some action, a little bit of seriousness, also a lot of comedy. Vince Vaughn is one of the most annoying people maybe ever in the history of the earth. And it is available on... Shit, I didn't even look that up. I thought I did.
Come on, it's on.
It is free somewhere.
As a Stars member,
it's
used
probably
to everything being free.
But I thought I looked it up on Just Watch, and I thought it said it was free somewhere. So it's free somewhere. Go find it.
I think Made is a better movie than Swingers.
They're both. I mean, they're both like. Made's like.
I think Swingers may be one of the most overrated movies ever.
Made is.
But I digress.
Made's okay.
My pick is specifically for Scott Beck, who is not here yet. Rules of Attraction. You can watch it on Showtime. You can watch it on Spectrum if they're your cable provider, or you can rent it on Amazon for $3. But it's so fucking good, you guys. Bret Easton Ellis. Just my dude Dawson coming through. The only reason it's connected is because Katie Holmes and the timeline thing. But I fucking love this movie. You guys should watch it.
It's a little foreshadowing for our draft. I don't know what's going to happen. I just feel a little tingle in the air. And
Made is free with ads on YouTube.
That's what I saw.
Which is lame. Yeah. It's not really free. It sucks.
Yeah, you got to watch it with
you have to pay with a small part of your soul.
You have to hate yourself a certain level to watch a movie on YouTube.
Or you could just pay $3.99 to save your dignity and that extra 15 minutes you'll never get back.
Just watch it on Stars.
In Back to the Future 3, there's the old guy in the bar, and he's like, "Run for fun. What kind of dumb fun is that?" And I just think of we're like now the old guy that's like, watch a movie with commercials. What kind of idiot does that?
Nothing angers me more than when I watch live sports and a commercial comes on and I'm like, what is this?
If there's a movie I really want to see on IMDb TV, I'll watch it. Because there's only like 4 commercials.
Yeah, I've done it before.
5.
And I hate every second of it.
Me too.
All right, so we're reshelving. Can I reshelf?
We are time to. We're gonna go to reshelf it. Reshelf it, of course. Best Video Kingdom. We were always thinking about our favorite video store growing up, and sometimes you want to take a movie that it's an action, and you're gonna make it into a sci-fi, or you're gonna take a horror movie, you're gonna make it into a comedy. So that's our idea for reshelving it, or maybe you got an alternate ending for this this film. So what do we got here?
It's like I always wanted to do, Brad, and take the movie Willow and take it behind the curtain into the adult section.
Hey, it might make it a better movie.
See what Mad Mardigan's working with. See if he's really the best swordsman in the East.
I'm more interested in what Willow's working with, I think. I think it's like a little more question about what's Willow got going.
Oh, yes.
Willow's got a third leg.
This is an expensive, expensive porno. That
tripod.
we're talking about.
Willow's a tripod.
How the hell did we get here?
It goes sideways real quick here on Best Video Kingdom. Okay, so here's my reshelf / alternate ending. They've got both. So they're the same. So I wanted to take this in a slightly darker direction, a la sort of like a Very Bad Things. And so I wanted a lot more people dying in very natural ways. So like Polly, is it Polly?
Sarah Polly?
Sarah Polly, that character.
Young
very,
Uma.
very forgettable.
Mona.
Yeah, so she like
Rana.
She survives
Mona.
she survives the initial hit, but then like she gets thrown on the hood, and then the guy comes that he thinks and shoots her. So like she's dead. So then let's see. Katie Holmes. So and this I actually thought was going to happen. So she's sitting there and gets irritated that he won't pull the gun. She walks over, and instead of leaving, she walks over, picks the gun up, and shoots him in the head. Just bang.
Katie Holmes shoots the British guy.
Yeah, she's like, I'm fucking tired of your whining. She shoots him.
I would have appreciated.
I would have supported her.
Then she goes back, and finally she goes to find the buddy that like they left behind the grocery store, and he's fucking OD'd on
all blue
he's just out. He's like giant smile on his face, but fully OD'd.
And then we have Katie Holmes crying scene. I love it,
dude. And it's like she
I would rent it.
So like it's like just everybody dies.
She cries so much her wet t-shirt gets wet a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Our alternate endings are always so dark. I was struggling because I didn't want to make a dark ending. I was trying to come up with something a little bit lighter, but wow. Okay.
She cries so much her wet t-shirt gets wet.
That's not dark. That's happy.
That's too many tears.
That's the happy ending we're all looking for.
All right, Zach, what do you got? You got a reshelf? You got an alternate ending? Where are we going?
You know what? I'm gonna defer to Nick for 1 second here because I am not prepared.
That's totally fine.
I know you're surprised.
So you guys mentioned Love Actually earlier, and I actually it kind of made me laugh because I have written here. I have a reshelf rom-com with drugs.
Ooh.
And so each chapter, instead of it just being a name, it's a couple
or just a drug.
So it's
it's like cocaine. You just see the story.
Well, then it's like a don't do drugs. Then it's like a don't do drugs campaign. I mean,
sorry, I digress.
But I'm glad we're brainstorming here. I love this shit. So it's a rom-com with drugs. So basically, each chapter is so I don't know. So Jay Moore and Scott Wolf's characters. So it would be the two of them, and basically their relationship and their connection to drugs. And it's X. Like in this movie, it seems like that like Ecstasy is the drug of choice. And so it'd be and then Oliphant and Holmes, right? So it'd be their relationship because they cross paths. Because earlier in the movie, instead of her being petrified and terrified of
she's
him,
into it.
She's the flirty one she is later.
Like she ends up being later in the movie. So they have a connection, and then it's Rana and fucking Simon. Somehow they make that work, which I don't see how they.
It's kind of like a love-hate.
But it's like the British guy who all the American chicks love in Love Actually. He's the British guy with the accent. She falls for him, whatever. She's a horrible actress.
He convinces her. He's like, I know how to come inside myself now.
And then we could call the movie Drugs Actually.
Drugs. Or Love and Other Drugs.
Drugs actually are what you need in your life.
Yeah, or Love and Other Drugs in pre-millennium. So yeah, so movie takes a lighter took at drug use and love at the end of the millennium. That's the catchphrase.
19-year-old me is buying this VHS.
That's a blind buy for Zach Watchfriend. That's a hard, and I take that.
You had me at drugs.
Slap hands and say drug.
I still like the idea of instead of having like each character is like Rana like, you know, Claire or whatever. It's just like ecstasy. And you just see like the people fucked up on ecstasy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the movie we're going to make. All right. So I have two options. The first one's very quick, and that is that it's this entire movie, but it's actually a prequel to Kill Bill, and it's just she grows up to be fucking
Beatrix Kiddo.
Yeah, she grows up to be Uma Thurman, and
right.
And this is her when she's 17 in high school in the Bay Area. She hasn't met fucking Bill yet. You know what I mean?
She was into some crazy shit, some violence.
Yeah.
Is there any way Bill is in this movie? Can you put Bill on anybody?
I think he was
movie?
at that part. At that
Timothy
rave.
Oliphant.
He was definitely at the rave.
Okay.
Yeah, he's that one guy.
When he wasn't going through small
He was
towns
the
in
dude
Texas
in the
solving
Santa
crimes.
Hat, the Santa hat on his dick.
All right, so my second one is that we're just going to make it a Law and Order episode. And we start out, we pan back on fucking dead Rana, you know, just laying in a ditch at the rave party. And then all of a sudden our detectives show up. And
Is this your second Law and Order episode?
I got a lot of Law
I
and
remember
Orders.
that. I'm just making
Dun, dun. And it's all SVU too.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But so basically, we just recast the SVU guys with Jay Moore and Scott Wolf. They're not actors; they're actually detectives. And they show up and they have this, you know, they're going to solve the crime all the while nursing their broken sexual relationship. And I think that you know, we have a lot of the same run-ins. They run into the guy from Makeup that they both were having an affair with. But in the end, this is the twist. So the twist is that, you know, you have all these flashbacks to all these different things, and it's basically the same movie, but just like constructed differently. And you're flashing back to all the different things that happened that made all these things come together. And it culminates in them realizing that they were the ones that did it because they got themselves into some of the pharmaceutical grade ecstasy that makes you act like a fucking clown and hallucinate. And then you have like the cool scene where they're at the end, they realize that it was them that killed the girl, and they're driving in their Miata and they're like listening to Queen hella loud singing along, and they like hit the body and they don't even notice because they're so fucked up, and like just drive around and take off. I think it could work just for an episode of, and then they don't tell anybody, and then you know, they don't tell them themselves.
And then they go into the regular episodes of.
And then the next episode, it's just a guy that
regular
fucking likes to choke himself while he's jerking off.
Oh, man.
Wait, was it Law and Order, right? That was what you said, or was it the
SVU,
other one?
bro?
Oh, my bad.
Special Victims Unit. Put some respect on its name.
Gong, gong.
Well, I know this. I know this was my movie, and I sat a while trying to think of some like reshelf ideas. And my alternate ending ended up just being, you know what? As we kind of talked about earlier, I want to figure out either post this movie or previous to this movie, Marcus, Simon, Singh, and Tiny, their whole relationship and how they got together and why they're going to Vegas together. Because they have obviously a lot of shit talking, so they've got that comfort level. They've been hanging out a little bit, but I want to see them all get together.
One of these things is not like the other. There's a very successful, seemingly put together black man, and then three just absolute clowns, and he's their best friends. You lost me. You lost me right there.
But I do want to see like how they got there, Brad.
Wait, did they say that they met in traffic school? Did you say that?
Simon says that he met traffic school. He says they were all friends before, but I met Marcus in traffic school.
The British guy.
British
the
guy.
last guy to be added.
So, and that's another thing. Is he like is he an exchange student that just decided to stay, or how did he end up in L.A.? They never really explain that. He's working at a grocery store.
Also, nobody goes to traffic school. Do people even know what traffic school is anymore? You just log online and cheat.
Well, this was before you could do online traffic school.
I know.
I remember looking through the listings one time when I got a ticket, and like it's like pizza and traffic school.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fun comedy traffic school.
Comedy traffic school is the least funny thing you'll ever do.
Some straight bullshit for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's our streaming reshelves. Any final thoughts before we move on to the draft? I mean, it sounds like everybody enjoyed it for the most part.
I like this movie. I think it holds up. I think that it's not groundbreaking in any way. I think it borrows from a whole lot of good stuff, but it doesn't ruin that good stuff by borrowing from it, if you know what I mean.
We know what you mean.
I mean, we didn't even really talk about the Simon's sex scene in the hotel room I love when he's just like looking over at the flaming curtains and he's like enjoying himself. And you just kind of like look at him like, oh wow, what's going on?
Yeah. He's tantric.
He's tantric. He was in the moment.
He just came inside himself.
That's right. That's right.
This might be my favorite part of the movie.
Bev's Video Kingdom is brought to you by the Las Vegas Riviera Buffet. Looking for a delicious meal, but don't want to make a mess of your kitchen? Are you visiting Las Vegas and can't afford the much better buffets down the Strip? Looking to eat some delicious seafood hundreds of miles away from any sea? Then come on down to the Riviera Buffet, where you'll be so stuffed full you may even feel sick. Move down the aisles of our delicious food and desserts, which are we are sure to freshen at least once or twice a week. Don't see any ice under those shrimp? It's probably still cold from the fridge this morning. Fried chicken a little soggy? Be sure to show up on Tuesday when it comes out straight from the fryer. Soft serve a little runny? Well, now you have a smoothie. But only $7.99 a person, who can expect any better? At the Riviera Buffet, you can guarantee you'll get your money's worth. Money does not include any doctor bills or prescriptions needed after eating at said buffet.
This room temperature shrimp is delicious.
All right, it's time now for our listeners. They have gotten back to us and they said this is their favorite part of the whole podcast, I believe. So it's time for the draft, and it's time to draft based on our movie. And since Timothy Oliphant, of course, is just Todd Gaines, an amazing drug dealer representation in this film, we decided to draft the most memorable drug dealers in film. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I know Nate last week was the winner, as selected by our guest judge. We will have a guest judge this week as well. But let's look at the draft order. And the draft order randomizer decided to go in age order. So it is going to be myself with the first pick, Nate with the second pick, Nick with the third pick, and Zach
the
with
youngster,
the wraparound, the young
baby
man with the fourth pick and the fifth pick.
You do look young.
Young buck.
You look like a teenager.
Means I get to pick 2 in a row.
I like this. I'm a big fan of the wrap. I won with that wraparound last week, and I will take a wraparound every day of the week.
They call yours the panda wrap, right? Panda wrap.
The stranger.
I know that's supposed to be a play on pander, but all I can hear is that it's a panda wrap, and I like that better, so I'm going to go with it.
The panda wrap.
Panda wrap.
All right, so
sounds delicious, doesn't it?
I have first pick, and I got to admit, I did not want first pick. I did not want first pick at all.
There's an automatic easy one here that you don't feel that good about, is why.
Oh, man.
You have to take it, because I'll take it right behind you, and then I'll just stick it right to you when the judge comes in.
Oh, geez. Oh, geez.
Stick it right to you.
I'll put it right in you.
All right, there is a number one that
have to
has to go. I mean, if you were probably still today, if you're in college, somebody either to your right or your left in your dorm has a poster of this man on their wall. And that is, of course, Tony Montana.
Say hello to my little friend.
And Scarface. And I think that's pretty much the unanimous number one.
The consensus 101.
There's no way to not go with him, but it's almost like he's been so poorly caricatured. I don't even think that's the right quote, but that's what everybody says, so I'm going with it. I feel like he's been so much like done up that it all feels kind of dirty taking him.
I didn't know where Brad was going when he was like, in college?
Dirty or pandering?
Like,
is pandering
what
the right
one
word?
does he think it is?
Pandering.
And then you brought it right
I think
back.
it's pandering is the way it's pronounced.
Pandering.
Okay, at number 2, this opens the field up for me. And good thing. So I'll start by saying 2 things here.
There's
One,
an obvious number 2.
Good thing.
I'll say 2 things. One, the correct answer to this is Walter White. But Zach, I'm pulling a Zach here, right? Even though it's TV, like he is the drug dealer, it would be the clear number 1 if we could go into TV.
Zach's taking Walter White. Like you think,
yeah.
you're going to stop.
I thought he might be
He's like
on the reach around.
He took it. Fuck.
He's in a film. He is in a film.
No, El Camino does not fucking count. If you pull that Nick Brown
Bryan
bullshit,
Cranston has been in a film.
That's checked. Indiana Jones was a teacher shit right there.
I will say last week I almost went with Mr. Burns because he's in the Simpsons movie and he's pretty evil in the Simpsons movie, but I feel like that would have been
They're fucking
shitty.
teachers.
The other thing I'm going to say is I oddly kind of shy away from like heavy drug use movies. and I don't know why, but this was a really hard category for me because like all the lists I like for like to compile, I was like, I've not seen 12 of those 15 movies, so that's cool. Okay, at number 2 though, I just watched one the other day, and it was for the first time, and it was a long time coming, and this guy was the deal, even though he was only in it for a few minutes, and that's Gary Oldman's drug dealer character in True Love. True Romance.
Did you watch it because it just came out on HBO Max?
No, actually. Funny enough, I didn't. I was like, I just had it on the list. I hadn't, and I finally hit it, and then I was like, oh, wonderful, it's on HBO Max.
I thought about watching it the other night because I saw it was on HBO.
So I got to go there.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'm not sure that's number 2 material, but I do respect Drexel Spivey. Gary Oldman with the weird Rastafarian.
Oh my god,
that's Scar.
It's one of the coolest characters.
It's so good
in movie history.
Pretty wild.
It's wild.
All right, Nick, what we got here in the third?
In the third, this is for everyone out there, because I'm here to please you all. Best pick in the draft: Saul Silver, Pineapple Express, James Franco. That's a drug dealer, and he'll be your best friend. He'll be there for you. Unlike Oliphant, he'll just leave your ass in a ditch.
Oliphant.
Okay.
I want to talk about Oliphant.
With my first pick.
I can't hear you, Zach, because you're bad at microphones.
I did the dumb thing today, and I wrote all my notes on the computer. Don't like it. I usually do pen and paper. It's much easier.
Plus, we can't. But now, at least with this form, we can hear you tapping on your keyboard, and it's kind of rhythmic and
yeah,
like, it's soothing. So we like that.
ASMR.
Quick typing fingers.
Somebody just absolutely went full climax when you tapped that K.
Guaranteed. Okay, I'm gonna go with my first pick, and it's actually 2 people. I think this works.
Oh, dude, I don't know. It's a good pick, but can we go to?
Jay and Silent Bob from Clerks.
I say we allow it, but I don't like that we are allowing it.
I will say on my documentation, which I haven't even handed out yet, that shows kind of our order and stuff. I did put drug dealer in the little S parenthesis though, so I think it works.
Drug dealers.
Drug dealers is.
You did that just for Jay and Silent Bob because you were hoping to snag them.
Oh, I did. I had no. Once I was first picked, that's what I was saying. There was no chance they were coming back to me. So
wrap it up.
With my
give me your panda
with
rap.
my second pick on the way back around, I'm gonna go with Johnny Depp as George Jung in Blow, which is not my favorite movie, but I think Johnny Depp kicks ass in it.
So go ahead.
All right. Damn.
Penelope Cruz is evil in Blow.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, she turned in a drug dealer, which probably is the right thing to do, but she's still evil.
No, Penelope Cruz can do whatever she wants. She knows it.
Old Henry Hill. He got into slinging that yayo. Henry Hill, Goodfellas, Ray Liotta.
Ooh, I like that one.
I thought he might be a late round steal at some point, but good call.
So, of the 7 people that had on my list to start this draft, 5 are gone. So that's going to put me in some trouble later. I better go get my Beckett draft guide for best drug dealer movies and flip through it. Okay, so I'm going to take... Yeah, I think I got to go with Big Worm from Friday.
He made my list.
Big Worm. So good. Friday's one that we really should... Somebody's got to pull the trigger on at some point because it's just... It absolutely does hold up.
It's great, but I've actually seen Next Friday like way more than I've seen the original Friday.
Some parts of Next Friday kill me.
Yeah, Next Friday. One of the most underrated sequels.
Well, and everybody was upset because with Chris Tucker not coming back for Next Friday, but Day Day comes in and just starts stealing scenes because he is funny as hell. Yeah. So it's up to me. I'm just sitting here staring
at Nate. A lot of quiet.
Staring at Nate. I was trying to look into his soul. What his pick I'm going to steal.
Well, let's see. There's one on my list, so there's
one guy left.
Oh boy! So this is nice having the nice little reach around. Oh boy! Man, okay, there's some great ones on this list. But I'm first going to go with, when you have just a bunch of quotable lines, including "see ya, wouldn't want to be ya," and "sit your $5 ass down before I make change." Nino Brown, New Jack City is a classic. Wesley Snipes, ruthless gangster, but also trying to make things better. But he's kind of vicious and
a little bit of heart.
But Wesley Snipes as Nino Brown, very classic drug dealing, who gets his, unfortunately, in the end due to an old guy that he dissed.
And then it swings right back around to you, Mr. Brad.
And with my second choice, oh, man. Okay, so this is going to be maybe controversial for who people have seen this film.
Are there any Muppet drug dealers?
For our fellow listeners who listened last week, yeah.
Oscar the Grouch.
I basically dropped the ball in the fourth round.
Slinging that crack.
Lost the draft in the fourth round with the Muppets, but that's all right. Man, I don't know which of these. This one would come back to me. All right.
You're on the clock.
All right, I'm going to go with there's a couple ways you could go with this movie, and I'm going to go probably the less traveled route. I'm going to go with Samson Simpson from Half Baked. Just one of the...
Clarence Williams,
I think he's like the third or something, but he is hilarious as Samson Simpson. He has limited time. He's got a bunch of women in very little clothing who've got crossbows and ninja stars and stuff as his bodyguards.
I want to talk to Samson. Fly me to the moon.
When Thurgood tries to fake his phone call, he's like, "Samson, it's your mama." He's like, "It's your sister, mama." He's like, "Shut up, bitch." Oh, what part of Jamaica? All right, that's my pick, Sam Simpson.
All right. I'm going to pick the last person that I have available, and then I'm going to start searching Google. So for my third pick, a solid one of the most memorable drug dealer scenes, not for the drugs, but for the drug counteracting measures. Lance in Pulp Fiction, just coming through with that adrenaline to the heart.
Just in a stabbing motion.
That might be one of my favorite pieces of acting ever. Is
so
when John Travolta, I got to stab her 3 times. Eric Stoltz just out of his mind. No. I got to stab her 3 times. Good stuff. I was hoping for Lance to come back.
All right. So for one of the more tense drug deals gone wrong and one of the darker renditions of Jesse's Girl, we can thank Alfred Molina in Boogie Nights.
God damn it, you guys are stealing my good ones.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, what an interesting dude. He's got
that scene is fucking
He's
gold.
Chinese, dude throwing the firecracker.
So weird.
And when Todd starts losing his mind, first, they're like, "Todd, what are you doing, man?" And Alfred Molina's like, "Oh, it's okay. Yeah. He's trying to calm him down a little bit, but then shit goes south really quick.
Thomas Jane.
All right, my pick. Nick's pick.
It is your pick.
It is my pick. Oh. All right, we're gonna finish this off with a win here today, guys. And I'm
looking for that first one.
It looks so fun when you guys do it. I'm gonna go with Ricky. I'm not sure who plays him, but he's the neighbor kid in American Beauty. One of my favorite movies. Even though we're not allowed to talk about it anymore.
That's a dark horse right there.
We're not allowed to talk about it because of the Spacey.
Yes, because of the Spacey factor.
And also because in the movie itself, he
kind of
goes full statutory rape fantasy. Yeah, that's probably a good reason not to.
Yeah, he was pretty into it.
So Ricky, that's who he got his pot from, right?
Yep, it's the neighbor kid that starts dating his daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, and my last pick.
Oh, and he stands there and like looks at him when he's dead too, right? Isn't he just like the one that like discovers his dead body and just kind of like stares at him? It's like really weird.
He's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Bag blowing in the wind. With my last pick, I am going Clifton Collins Jr. as the drug dealer Rupert in Rules of Attraction.
Dude, I almost took it just to try to get you back for trying to get me last
I knew
week.
it was going to be there at the end because I didn't think.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, Zach's going to pick this one. Dude, Rules of Attraction is still one of the strangest movies that I thought I was going to really like, and then thought was really
filmed at University of Redlands.
Anything associated with Bret Easton Ellis is always going to be a little wacky.
But that movie is so good.
Have we talked? That it's part of it's filmed.
That it was filmed at Redlands.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I mean, you got Rules of Attraction. We had Indiana Jones at Pacific. I mean, we know who wins this contest.
Same. Yeah, it's pretty obvious which one of them was a teacher.
Indiana Jones just climbing out of a classroom. You're right.
I can't see a pair of eyelids.
To go on an archaeologist adventure.
On the side of his teaching profession.
Side job as archaeologist.
He's got retirement, fucker, and benefits.
All right. So I found one that I really like.
Wait, whose turn is it?
Wait, I think it's Nick's turn.
Jesus.
Oh, I'm second. Well, then I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, you should.
I wouldn't say it yet.
He almost just blew
Almost
the
took the last one off my list. All right, I'm going my boy Denzel, Frank Lucas, American Gangsta.
That's a good, if slightly obvious and.
Did you like that movie?
Pick.
Yeah.
Man, I never got into it. I tried.
It's hard to not.
I tried to watch it a couple times. I don't think I ever got like it. I just wasn't in the right mood. I watched through like season 3.
It's no. It's no trading day.
All right, that's a Nate doesn't watch movies all at once joke. Okay, so I'm going with this is a pick maybe just for me, but if you've seen the movie Project X, which is a faux sort of like documentary about a party that gets out of control, which is a movie that I think is great on lots of fronts. And one of the things that makes it truly absurd is that T-Rick, who is the drug dealer in that, whose garden gnome full of pills gets stolen, and then creates the climax of the movie when he shows up with a, wait for it, flamethrower and fucking torches the neighborhood and the party.
And this was way before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That.
Yeah. It was amazing. So anyway, I'm taking T-Rick and Rick in Project X.
It's a great scene when they're going through the party and they have the Eminem song playing. Like, that's a great take on a fucking rager.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. And our boy, Miles Teller.
I've never seen this movie.
It plays himself and then fucking swings the bat, breaks the gnome, and then the pills go everywhere.
I thought you were going to say he showed up at the party and somebody punched him.
I thought that's where
True.
That probably happened too.
I haven't seen that movie yet. I got to put that
It's
on my
good.
list.
It's
good.
solid.
Haven't seen it in years.
Oh, boy. Do I go the Nick route? I think I have to. With the last pick. Last week it was the first pick, was the movie that we all watched. And this week it's going to be the last pick. Goes to Todd Gaines from the movie Go.
Solid pick.
Timothy Oliphant, local boy for us. Just ruthless, evil. Just got that dark side. You just don't trust him, but he's got the drugs.
So eventually we're going to do The Girl Next Door on this pod because I'm going to make us. And that movie I love in ways that, people don't predict since it is about porn, but that's not why I love it. And Timothy Oliphant in that is a slightly different version of I think he's a very similar character. His sideburns are the same, which makes him the same to me.
Very pointy.
But he's very pointy, but he's great. And I love this version of Oliphant, and I think he doesn't do it enough. He's good in a lot of stuff, and I love him in a lot of different roles. But for me, this is these couple characters are my favorite Oliphant.
Yeah. Scummy Oliphant, just reeking of Modesto, with his abs out.
Yeah,
he's just like
everybody from Modesto has crazy abs.
Crazy abs. We usually have tattoos that say Modesto across them.
So draft is done. Let's go ahead and talk real quick about some missing. There's some that I saw on the list that I just haven't seen. King of New York.
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken is Frank White. That's I watched some scenes from that, and yeah, he's pretty crazy evil in that one.
Swanee, Peter Mullen, Train Spotting.
Yeah. Thurgood Jenkins could have been the other choice for drug dealer for Mr. Nice Guy. What else do we got?
Lenny from Strange Days.
That's a weird one. That's a real weird one with Ralph Fiennes.
James Franco in Spring Breakers.
Alien. Yeah.
Oh,
James
so one
Franco.
that I forgot to write down was
Absolute insanity.
Raffi from The League.
Yeah.
So in Bad Grandpa, have you seen that?
Oh yes, dude. Oh,
And I
can't
totally
believe
forgot to
missed
put it
that
down.
one.
He's an amazing
Bad Grandpa
drug
is
dealer.
an amazing movie.
Oh my god!
I laughed so hard that people thought they needed to
hilarious
land the
drug
plane
dealer.
on a flight back from the East Coast once.
Another Pineapple Express. You could actually take Gary Cole.
Yeah.
Ted Jones.
Carlos Ayala in Traffic. He doesn't even show up on the IMDb. I had to go a deep search. His name's Stephen Bauer, who plays him. But yeah, Carlos Ayala.
Does Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men count as a drug dealer?
Man, I thought about
dude's an
that. I
assassin,
don't think so.
He's just
he's
a killer, man.
mercenary
Sicario.
Yeah.
At Lil Z from City of God, Brazilian film that's just basically like the youth gangs in Brazil, and this kid starts off as just like a little fucking up people with guns and stuff, and then he grows to this big gangster, and of course he ends up getting killed by a little kid in the end.
So I had an interesting one that I wouldn't be surprised if he was a drug dealer, but it was a reach. So I didn't,
We like
I took
our reaches here.
Marcellus Wallace, Pulp Fiction. You know that dude's a drug dealer, but they don't show him doing drugs. But he does. It kind of describes him in some of the articles about it. As he's kind of like he's a crime boss.
Yeah,
he has to sell drugs, but it's not.
I remember the conspiracy is that he deals in souls.
Don Corleone. Yeah. Don Corleone is also on my list for that same reason.
Well,
Corleone, I believe it's the correct.
Do they count as a drug dealer if they sold drugs at some point in their life?
I think anybody that basically looks like they could be a drug dealer.
Speaking
I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Speaking of not looking like a drug dealer,
I didn't pick him.
Jason Sudeikis from We're the Millers as David Clark.
Oh yeah,
pot dealer.
Yeah.
Oh, Ed
Is that
Helms.
a drug?
Ed Helms.
Are these
What
drugs?
also?
Are these really drugs? We're in a state where pot is,
no regrets.
No regrets.
Right. Not even a letter. Not even one letter.
All right, so let's go through the list real quick. We've got our team. So team 1 consists of Tony Montana as Scarface, Nino Brown, New Jack City, Samson Simpson from Half Baked, and Todd Gaines from Go.
That's a good
Number 2's got Drexel Spivey from True Romance, Big Worm from Friday, Lance from Pulp Fiction, and T-Rick from Project X. Number 3, Sal Silver, Pineapple Express, Henry Hill, Goodfellas, Rahad Jackson, Boogie Nights, and Frank Lucas from The American Gangster. And number 4, Jay and Silent Bob from all of the Askew films, George Johnny
Depp.
Blow, Johnny Depp, Ricky from American Beauty, and Rupert Guest, Rules of Attraction.
I just want to say that Zach, almost fully half's just sold out here. I mean, 2 of them were his, but this week he's playing to win. I can see it in those picks.
I can hear it now. I haven't seen Rules of Attraction, so I have to eliminate that.
It's probably going to be
But at least you're not going to be first out this time.
He's going to say the same thing for Project X.
No, I admit this is my weak spot. If I win this one, then I'm just gonna really taunt you guys.
So what you picked? You picked Girl Next Door and Project X?
No. Yeah, but he might be probably. I guarantee you, he was a drug dealer. He was a porn guy. Probably was dealing drugs.
We're going by Nick's rules. If he sold drugs at any point in his life, never in the movie, but at some point,
if he ever gave a buddy of drugs and that guy eventually bought him a meal, he's a drug dealer.
He handed him some aspirin.
All right.
All right, folks. So now we are back. We are ready for our draft review. We have our guest judge in here today. And our guest judge is going to be familiar to our earlier listeners because we have back Scott Beck. welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me back, guys.
Good stuff. So Scott has had some time to look at our draft results, and he's going to be making some decisions, removing some competitors from the competition, and then ultimately deciding on a winner. For our draft for the movie Go, again, the draft category was the most memorable drug dealers in movies. So, Scott, first off, had you seen Go back in the day, and what were your thoughts, if you've done a recent rewatch or anything like that?
Yeah, I remember I'm not sure if I saw it in the theater or not long after, but I know it was around that time. Now, was this around the time of Pulp Fiction? Because I think it was pitched to me as kind of like
2 or 3 years later. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think somebody pitched it to me like it's kind of like Pulp Fiction, which when I watched it really wasn't. But other than the fact that it kind of jumps around and the time,
it has like the titles of the chapter.
Right.
Or
Sarah Pauly looks like a young Uma Thurman.
For that. Yeah. So, and I remember really liking the movie, and I remember the soundtrack. I thought there were some really great songs on it. So I literally rewatched it about 4 hours ago after I got off work because I knew you guys were doing this. And it was okay. It was good. And I swear to God, I was watching this and I go, okay, I remembered zero about this
so
movie.
I had that same reaction. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure I saw it, and I was like, I remember the people that were on the poster.
Right.
And I was like,
Yeah.
but I had a hard time remembering.
Yeah, I remembered Oliphant because I'm a huge fan of his, and he actually just that stuck in my brain from way back then. It's like I remember liking that, and I didn't know who he was at the time, and so and I was watching this movie, I was like, wow, Jay Moore's in this? Okay, great, and it was just there's a lot of that going on.
We were talking about that. Jay Moore just kind of this is almost, it was considered his vehicle, like this is like his kind of movie, but he really is not the big star in it. But
right, yeah, that whole subplot was just kind of weird. The whole pyramid scheme part.
Yeah. It's great. William Fichtner kills it for sure.
The wife just
the mashed potatoes,
just kissing the dude in the kitchen, the guy from Party of Five.
It's so weird.
That like threw me off. It's like I was hot on the trail of the weird, like the husband's into some weird shit. And then the wife being super weird, I was like, all right. And then they threw me a curveball, and I was like, I don't know if I buy it.
So I think this is Oliphant's like first big, like reasonably big role. I mean, he was in
the Bayer high production of Rent, I believe.
No, this was early. I was looking at his IMDb.
Was he in Scream 2 before this,
He was
or
in
after?
Scream after.
I think that would have been.
Wait a minute. It says he was in 94 episodes of Sex and the City. What? I don't remember this.
No, so sometimes the IMDb listing shows how many.
Oh, I'm sorry, my
there
bad.
were.
I can't read. It's one. Shut up, Brad.
He played Carrie Bradshaw's gay best friend.
He does have kind of a big role in Scream 2, if I remember.
He watched Shawshank.
Isn't he?
No,
He's in
got
Scream 2, right?
Correct.
That's kind of actually his big.
Yeah.
That's his first really big one. He's on the poster, but I mean, after that, this is real early. This is early Oliphant.
Yeah, I remember hearing a story about Oliphant, whatever. And he when Scream 2 came out, and this was in Modesto. Apparently, there was a screening there, and spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, he was in the audience. He taps a girl in front of him on the shoulder, and he says, "How's it feel to be sitting in front of the killer?"
Oh,
that's a legendary story.
Of course, that could be bullshit, but I've heard that story. I'm going to believe it.
I want to believe it.
I definitely want to.
I want to believe it too, but a guy with abs like that doesn't have to make a line like that. I'm pretty positive.
Hey, I'll say our Modesto actors, they come back and frequent Modesto on occasion.
But Renner doesn't.
But really,
I saw Renner at Trisetti's, all scarfed up and small.
All right.
If we were being real about it, I mean, Oliphant's a great actor, and Renner's an embarrassment to the whole area. I hate him in everything that he's in.
Didn't he win the Academy Award for Hurt Locker?
Yeah. Or he was up for it.
He was up for it.
He was up
it
for
won.
it.
And now he's making a ton of that Marvel.
Pretty sure he didn't win.
dollars.
I think Hurt Locker won for Best Picture.
I don't know if he won for Best Actor.
No, because he's not a good actor. the main reason.
Okay, cool.
He's got a Disney Plus series just about ready to drop.
I mean, I'm not here. I'm not like a Renner fan.
Yeah, he's got that Buffalo
but
Trace.
I still want to. That's kind of a hot take. So, yeah,
I just don't.
Half a glass of Buffalo Trace, and
I don't like the guy that plays Hulk.
Angry.
I don't like the guy that plays Hulk, and I don't like Jeremy Renner. Those are my two guys.
That's a take I will fight you about.
Those are my two guys.
I'll be right behind you. I'll take
so
you down,
Scott,
bro.
Seriously though, the reason we have you on the pod today is how long have you been dealing drugs?
I wanted to get to this. You guys have had me on a few times, and a couple of them were music based, and it made sense. And then I get the call for this, and I'm like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah, you got an 8-ball you can sell us. Hey, by the way, before we get too far into this, Scotch Beck here has an album dropping.
Shit, yeah.
I was just telling a story off the air that I want to share, which is that I shared a post about this, and about like 3 hours later, my 73-year-old mother called me and was like, "What was that thing you shared? I loved it. I just loved the sound. It was just a really good song." So, killing it with that senior crowd.
That's the crowd I'm aiming for.
Target demos on it.
So you call it California farmer rock, right?
Yeah.
Which I love as a description. I mean, it's like most people don't even know there are farmers in California.
Are you trying to kill the album before it releases, or is this actually a promo?
No, it's a promo. I'm just saying. Like my point is,
if you are a 70-year-old woman and you like rock,
my point is that like even my mom, who like it is not the target demographic, and I would not expect, was like, I dig that stuff. Like I dig that song. I dig the stuff that I'm getting. So just imagine what his target demographic is going to think. They're going to lose their minds.
Their panties are wet also.
Just absolute pandemonium.
It sounds amazing. I've heard
it's a great album
of many songs, and it sounds great. And I was joking with Scott before, when he got here, that I was embarrassed to say that I don't have a way to play the CD that I bought from him a couple weeks ago. And so, if you buy a CD, I don't know if Scott can kind of explain it. You might find yourself with a free download, but he assured me that I'll be getting that download so I can listen to the full songs and not just the previews. But there's some, there's a lot of songs on there. Like I forget a good like album, like listening to like a nice friggin' full ass album.
Yeah. Well, you don't get a lot of like 16, 18 song albums anymore. They don't exist.
Well, yeah, they don't make albums anymore. They hit, they do singles, and I still love an album. Some of my favorite band creations are an album.
Is it a concept album, Scott?
In a way, it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just ups and downs of my relationships over the last 20 years, because like one of the songs I wrote when I was, 22 years old.
Oh, so this is this is what I love about debut albums, is that you can take, you take your greatest hits from like 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's why they call it the sophomore album slump, right? Because then all of a sudden they're like, okay, you got 6 months to write 10 more good songs. And you're like, fuck, it took me 20 years to come up with all these songs.
Yeah, it is definitely something that you notice with bands. They have this great debut, and then usually they're out touring and they don't have time to write the next one. Next thing it's time to get to the studio, like, okay, what the hell do we do now? Used all their good stuff over the years.
Like Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just like Vanilla Ice. That's what I think of when I think of Scotch Beck, is Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice doesn't care what happens in his music career. He can fall back on his drywall career. He's got a show doing drywall.
That first album, Ice Ice Baby. So I know you can get it on all the normal places, right? Like iTunes and such. But if you want to just go raw dog it, go straight to scotchbeck.com, right?
I thought he was going to say Napster.
You can go to Napster. It is
staying in 1999.
You really want to raw dog fuck Scott, you can go illegally download it.
On Napster.
Spotify is the Napster of 2000.
We'll put the illegal download link in the
Scotchbeck.com, and you can get it all, or you can probably ask him for a CD that you can't play, but the art's beautiful. So.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And the July 27th is the official launch date.
Okay, cool.
And
you can get the previews now, so go listen to them.
Yeah.
If you happen to be listening to this, you're not going to be listening for it.
Isn't it great that Nate is just pandering again for the second week in a row? He's like, hey,
but he doesn't,
Scott, let me butter you up a little.
He doesn't know who's the list.
Scotty doesn't know, guys.
Scotty doesn't
know.
We never ruin who's is whose while we're talking about it, do we?
Poker faces.
All right, let's get on with this, because I want to know that I won.
All right, so Scott, you are our judge. So looking this draft, of course, is a 4-round snake draft. And the draft started off with Tony Montana from Scarface with the first pick. Do you agree that is a solid first pick?
Slam dunk, home run.
We all four agree. One of one, right?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely top of my list as well. So all four of the ones I came up with were all on here too. And I will say, so I came up with kind of a couple new things for my grading here.
Ooh.
So I already know who the winner is. So if somebody screws up and tells me who that tries to tell me who they are, like, yeah, I'm looking at you.
Would do that.
Yeah.
He's looking at, let the record show he's pointing at Zach.
Because one thing about movies and me is I hate spoilers, and I hate spoilers when it comes to this
And
draft.
he hates Zach.
So I took my time. my votes are in, and you guys cannot change anything.
All right. That's
So
good. I like that.
Oh, I like that
a
so
very good
much.
method. That's a
I
very
can't
good
even
method.
fuck it up because I'm pretty sure I've lost all the drafts because
Right.
I fucked them up.
And I'm pretty sure I know which one is yours.
It's
And you did
definitely
not
not your
win.
picks. Definitely not because of the picks.
Okay, and so I came up with this neat little grading system where I was going to give A's, B's, and C's, and I was like, okay, it's great. I'll put somebody will get a C, and that'll knock them out, whatever. And you guys killed it on this thing, man. I had all A's across the board. Of course, there's some pluses and minuses, and one B.
Oh, who got the B?
Now,
Fuck. Which
What
one?
does B rhyme with Z?
something else new that I did. So there was actually only 4 movies that I haven't seen out of all this, which is different than most of the drafts that I've graded here. And what I did this time was each one of these characters, I went on YouTube and found a scene.
Ooh, I like it.
Oh, that's dope.
And so based on that scene, and it could be maybe I happen to Google a bad scene. Well, it's the top scene, and if it's a shitty scene, then obviously it's not that great.
They're fucking professionals.
Google
So-
fucked me.
And usually the drug dealer is going to have like one scene.
They
Yeah.
all they
You know what I
all
mean?
did.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
4 that I looked up. Okay, so I'm gonna go team by team.
Okay.
And just kind of, I won't give the exact grades, but I'll just definitely say what my thoughts on them real quick. Tony Montana, obviously amazing. Okay, Nino Brown from New Jack. I have not seen New Jack City.
Me neither, Scott.
Okay, so, well, it doesn't matter, Nick. But I checked out the scene where he's in the boardroom, and he ends up, getting change or whatever. He's gonna make change.
Sit your $5 ass down
Yeah,
before
exactly.
I make change.
Great scene. So that definitely brought it into the A category. Samson Simpson was on my list. Samson Simpson, great movie. Now I want to know: was this draft? Is it already under protest? Because you guys always have it under protest. Does somebody pick like non-drug?
Nick tried to cheat.
We have weekly it's
had
a
a
thing.
feeling,
Yeah, weekly protest.
Nick just in spirit.
Mine are still pending because there's no case against any of them because they were all fucking teachers.
There are loads of lawyers that have already been.
I thought somebody was.
Accounts
I
right
thought
now.
somebody was going to pick like Dave Chappelle and the other guys, but they aren't drug dealers; they're fundraisers.
Fundraisers for
And
Kenny.
so I thought you guys would get into an argument with that. But anyway, you picked Samson. That's an amazing pick. And Todd Gaines from Go, which is the movie that we were just discussing.
Low hanging fruit.
The fact that I didn't like the movie that much kind of hurt it, but I love Oliphant, so that kind of gave it some points. Number 2, Drexel, amazing pick. I had him on my list. Love True Romance, one of my all-time favorite movies. Big Worm.
Big.
Honestly, I love that pick. Lance from Pulp Fiction. Again, amazing pick. Now, Project X, I have not seen. Is that one of those Steadicam movies with like a
Yes.
See, I started watching it
A
and I hated it. Because I just can't. Those movies drive me nuts. But I looked up a scene. Motherfucker's got a flamethrower, and that shit was badass. He wants his gnome back, and he's pissed off. So that definitely helped the score.
Shit.
Saul Silver, Pineapple Express. Amazing opening scene with James Franco. Just so many lines. I didn't love the movie, but I just the ending was weird for me, and it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I do remember him, and he was great. Henry Hill and Goodfellas, amazing movie, of course, and memorable character. We got. See, I didn't even know that was his name in Boogie Nights. That's Alfred Molina's character.
Yeah,
had no clue.
Yep.
Sister Christian makes that slam dunk. that whole scene is just unreal, and the little bombs going everywhere, and so good. And Frank, okay, I don't know if I've seen American Gangster. I've seen parts. I'm not super familiar with it, but the scene I looked up when he shot Idris Elba in the head, and he just walked back to the table, and was like, okay, what was I talking about? Just cold as ice, and that was huge points. So, Jay and Silent Bob, amazing pick. Not a huge fan of Clerks, but still a great pick. Super memorable characters, some of the best. George Young, Blow. I actually had that on my list. It was a very memorable movie. The movie's kind of a bummer, but actually, it's a real bummer. But
fucking Penelope Cruz.
Ricky and American Beauty, awesome character, great movie. Rupert from Rules of Attraction, never heard of that movie, don't know what that movie is.
Predictable.
Looked it up. This is Zach's team. And
he picked for the fans this time.
The scene I found was them in the kitchen.
Oh, it's amazing, right?
And it was pretty great, but it was also kind of hokey and kind of cheeseball.
You got to see it in context. He's on a lot of cocaine.
I bet.
I go, I just can't wait for Scott to play here and tell me he's never seen Rules of Attraction.
You know how they used to like colorize movies, like to add color to the black and white movies? Zach's going to make a company where he just takes movies and adds cocaine to them. That was your old movie. Now we added cocaine. Let's see what happens.
This is an old joke on the previous iteration of Bev's where I liked all movies with cocaine references.
Someday those will come out of the vault.
So that got a B.
Oh, the only B.
That's a fucking surprise. Everyone in the audience is like, holy shit, Ed Norton and Brad Pitt are the same guy? Fucking spoiler.
So my grades. All right. Team 1, A+, Tony Montana, A-, New Jack City, Samson Simpson, A+, Todd Gaines and Go, A. All right. Team 2, A+ is all across the board.
Oh my
A+s?
Lord.
Motherfucker.
Number 3, you got an A+, A+, A+.
He lost it by the first pick?
The first pick.
Which was
Pineapple Express.
Really?
It just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't give it the A+.
I really like the new scoring system.
But Team 2 is absolutely
Nate wins every time.
Again. Win every time. I won the first time last week, and again to this time. Although that isn't, in fairness, that is 50% of the drafts we've done. So
did you give George
essentially it's
Jung an A+? I'm just curious.
I give that an A, just because the movie was such a bummer.
Just for reference.
So essentially, if you're a betting fan of Bevs, and there is clearly a market for this, you basically want it's even money, Nate against the field is where we're at. Right?
I have 2 wins. You have 2 wins.
The best odds
even right now.
Right, like I said, Nate against the field. I don't know who's in the field. Doesn't matter who's in the field.
The worst odds you can get are Zach for 4th place.
But you also can win a lot
money
more
if
if
Zach
you bet
comes
on
through.
Zach.
Odds are big.
Exactly.
We're going to get a champagne bottle. When you get a 3rd, we're popping.
Oh, we're crazy.
We're going to spray it all over the equipment. We don't give a fuck.
Fucking confetti just comes out of the fake flowers.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, there was just too many. Like, I mean, the fact that True Romance is one of my all-time favorite movies. Big Worm is such a great character from Friday. Pulp Fiction is one of my all-time favorite movies as well. And then that flamethrower scene just was the thing that kind of took it over the top.
I thought that
took
Project
Lance.
X was going to lose it for him because I didn't think I knew you hadn't seen it.
You see that scene though,
Nick
and
called
it is pretty
Nick
wild.
said
He's
Scott's
just
never seen
legit
Project
lighting
X.
up a neighborhood
Yeah.
with a a
fucking
flamethrower.
awesome.
It's wild.
You weren't counting on the new scoring system, and
That's good to know. That's good to know for the future.
For my win here, for the what helped me was that part of the movie, the camera angle is from a helicopter. So the scene, a lot of the scene probably wasn't the shaky camera bullshit. It was
right,
like the better stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can we make a rule that?
Yes, I want to hear this.
No, I've got a
Yes,
rule. I've got a rule that I think will even the playing field.
Okay,
if you will. No one knows who the judge is until after the draft. So that way you can't pander like a little bitch.
Oh.
Like some of our people here do. Not me and
How
not me and braids. Over
somebody's got to know, or we just will have nobody arrange a judge.
So the guy who picks has an advantage.
Who's the judge?
We'll just give it out to like 5 people. Whoever gets here first.
We're going to call the judge during the pod.
Hey, are you available? Nope. Okay, cool.
Sadly enough, I always am.
Scott's like, I'll be right over. Oh, dude.
Just like we're available right now.
Man, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I feel like Scott and I are really on one wave.
Damn it.
Scott's got homework. You need to go home and rent the James Vanderbeek classic.
Yeah.
Rules of
Bret Easton Ellis pen.
Varsity.
So that you can see that movie
Rules
in
of
attraction and be very confused.
Just the opening scene in reverse with the Cure playing is just it's a great movie.
I thought I got Todd Gaines as a steal with the last pick of the draft. I thought that was gonna put it over the top for me.
I'm not a fan of picking the movie that you guys were talking
Exactly.
about.
I thought it was out of the question to pick that.
Yeah, you said you would have liked Nick's draft last week.
So
he picked number 1, Lumberg.
Well, that's different.
When we do,
it's fucking Lumberg.
When we do Muppets Take America, you can't pick Kermit the Frog as the most memorable frog in a movie.
You gotta pick Miss Piggy.
It's against the fucking rules.
Well, Scotty, we got you a plug, but your album is coming out here in July, and Scotch Beck, the Ballad of
Bosco Jenkins.
So thank you once again, as always. But before we ask you to leave, hey, what is our next movie? I think it is going to be Nick is Up.
You got a pick?
What kind of fucking inspirational movie you got for us, buddy? What are we going to be thinking right now?
All right. So, reference the movie last week in our draft with our...
bosses. We got a boss involved, huh?
With our bad boss.
So if you guys want to pause the pod and go back to the previous pod. No, go ahead. What do we got?
They know, they watched, they know exactly my picks because, it was the asterisk winner of it all. Like everyone knows it.
Big old asterisk.
Oh, hell yeah. I think I know where we're going.
It's a Barry Bonds size asterisk.
But we're going sports movie and we're going to Cleveland.
Oh,
really?
We're going Major League.
Fired up as
he's all pissed that Katie hadn't seen it, so he's like, I'm going to watch it and make her watch it.
One of the more understated blue-collar working head coaches in the history of film, Lou Brown. We're going with most memorable movie coach.
Oh, I like it.
Shotgun on Ted Lasso, bitch.
The time.
Straight to the TV.
No fucking around this pod. We're going right to most memorable movie coach. Let's fucking do it. So Major League most memorable movie.
That's a
coach.
large pool of coaches to pull from.
Deep pool.
Clear Eyes, Full Hearts. Oh no, wait, no, that's TV too.
That is good stuff. I'm fired up.
Yeah, buddy.
Brad can pick his coach from that 70s titular classic Slapshot.
We got a
my
player
dude Paul
coach.
Newman,
Got salad dressings,
Mr.
yo.
Silver Eyes
Player
himself.
coach just count, right?
Yeah.
All right. So do we need to clarify anything with coach, manager?
We got most
Gordon
memorable
Bombay, dog.
most
What's up?
memorable coach.
So of any sport.
Rodney Dangerfield from Ladybug.
John Candy, Cool Runnings.
There's a lot of picks on the table.
All right.
I mean, I think we might need to increase the draft rounds for this one, possibly.
Billy Bob
And go
Thornton.
like
We're
a
gonna
reboot.
We're gonna go
of
with
five or
News Bears.
six
We're going to go to a
round.
super draft?
A 5 or 6 round.
Okay, stay tuned. We may go super draft.
You always got to
everybody.
increase it by 2. You got to go to a
Let's go.
six,
I
so.
say. I think we might consider 6. We're talking sports. I mean, I think we can go deep.
I'm for that. I mean,
We'll do some research and
I'll win
circle
in
back.
any format.
I can make picks that no one's seen the movie in any format. whatever you guys.
Zach's gonna do him. You know what I mean? Everyone out there, Zach's gonna pick for himself. You can count on that.
I pick Tupac from the titular classic Above the Rim as the coach.
Oh yeah, he does. He coaches
Birdie,
the bad guys.
Yeah, they pull guns out on the court.
It's pretty wild.
In case you haven't seen it,
That's
Nick.
a classic. So as we end this episode, we had a very sad day for the Bev's Video Kingdom family as we lost a longtime friend, somebody who we've had shared many great memories and laughs, and that is Stacy Finch.
Without a doubt, a card-carrying member of Bev's Video Kingdom at some point in her life, without a doubt.
100%.
Yeah, she definitely frequented the Bevs. And it's funny, it tells you a little bit, well, 2 things I want to say, just real quick. One, Stace would have loved Bevs in the sense that like there's all kinds of good sort of off-color topics and shit talking. And Stace was, you know, she was kind of a special one for me in the sense that, you know, of all my friends, especially the women that I'm still friends with from, I mean, we met in preschool, and she was just like, you know, she said fuck better than anyone ever knew. This is one of the things. It's funny, you know, it's like funny the things you kind of remember, but like I'll miss her like rolling through the gate and being like, you know, that's fuck, you know, it's like she's pissed about something, you know, like that's the things you miss sometimes, you know. It's like she was a sweet and sunny person, but that, and the other thing is like, kind of give you a sense of the Bevs like universe. Like we really, it is a small town. Brad and I literally met her when we were 3 years old in preschool, and we've known each other and knew her that long. Nikki, you know, was younger, but then recently married her cousin, you know, and her first cousin, and Zach became friends with her sort of independently through sort of a crew, but also like coached T-ball with, and coached her kids and coached with her husband. And so, you know, it's like that's the kind of place we're in, you know, and Stace was special to all of us in lots of different ways and was a friend. And so, you know, we're going to miss her. And she's somebody that definitely means a lot to all of us and to a lot of other people. And so to you, Stace.
Well, cheers to Stacy on the on her passing, and we miss you, girl.
She would make fun of me for having
Love
a
you,
truly.
Stace. Cheers.
She definitely would make fun of me.
Definitely talk shit about your pink drink.
I wanna be at Beverly's, bringing me home with my movies, just a blind by, no reason why. I love this scene. Nick Nates, I can brag your favorite podcast. Let's start